Returning to Joshua chapter 7 and picking up the story from verse 6, as after the initial defeat of the Israelites as they tried to attack the town of Ai, east of Bethel. Verse 6, Joshua and the elders of Israel tore their clothing in dismay at the defeat. They threw dust on their heads, they bowed down, face down to the ground before the ark of the Lord until evening. Then Joshua cried out, "O sovereign Lord, why did you bring us across the Jordan River if you are going to let the Amorites kill us? If only we had been content to stay on the other side. Lord, what can I say now that Israel has fled from its enemies? For when the Canaanites and all the other people living in the land hear about it, they will surround us and wipe our name off the face of the earth. And then what will happen to the honor of your great name?" The Jewish response to their defeat is utter dismay. And I think when we come up against things in our lives that we feel God has led us into and it doesn't work out in the way that we had hoped or anticipated, we can grieve before God for the situation that we now find ourselves in. I think that's a very legitimate thing to do. And they threw themselves down, face down to the ground until evening. So for the remainder of the day, however long that was, they were just calling out to God and saying, "God, why has this happened? Why has this happened?" And obviously there was a sense of personal bewilderment and thinking, well, where is God in all this? We thought we heard God so clearly, and yet this has happened. There's also obviously a concern for people's own personal well-being, because they thought, well, maybe we're going to be wiped out as a nation. And then at the very end of verse 9, there's this key text that says, "What will happen then to the honor of your great name?" And there is an element of our Christian lives as Jesus followers when we need to be thinking not just about our own situation, about how things affect us, but how they affect the honor of God's name. How does my response to what I'm facing reflect on God? We think a lot about how things reflect on us, and I suppose that's a very natural thing to do. But what about thinking, how does this reflect on God? How does this reflect on the Lord? How does this reflect on the calling that God has on my life? What is God saying to me about the here and now that has a wider impact than I had previously thought? Sometimes as parents, and those of us who are parents, our children, what they do to some degree reflects on us as parents, doesn't it? I mean, decisions they make are their own, of course. I remember as a child hearing that what I did reflected on my parents. And there is a sense in which our actions reflect on the God who called us, the God who saved us, the God who we claim to follow. And if we are Jesus followers, surely we should be very keen to make sure that we honour the name of the Lord Jesus. We often quote that verse, don't we, about the Son of God who loved us and gave himself for us. And that's true whether we're having a good day or a bad day. Isn't it also true that we want to live in a way that honours him? See, the Israelites were rightly concerned that their defeat in battle would bring dishonour to the name of the Lord. And other nations looking on would think, well, Israel is obviously no big deal, and the God they follow is no big deal, and therefore we can defeat them without any problem. For the Israelites, it wasn't only the defeat, but what it said to the surrounding nations about the honour of God. And I think for us as Jesus followers, we're very pally with Jesus. We're very up close and personal, and we have that intimate relationship that he so desires. At the same time, as we are intimate and close with Jesus, we need to remember that he's a God that needs to be honoured and respected. And so what God is saying to us today is, be up close and personal with my son. But remember that what you do, how you conduct yourself, reflects on him. And so we come to God and we say, God, we need your help because we want to honour the name of your son. Give us insight, give us courage to say and do the right thing so we bring honour to his name.